My mom, Diane Shepard, was born June 14, 1921. She's around about, I think she's maybe the middle child, possibly. My mom it was 5 girls, 2 boys. My mom, we have one aunt left living, Aunt Mary, she's 102. And she's left here with us in her right mind for 102. She loves her high heels, and she knows us when we go in and see her. So we have good genes in our blood. Our blood is very strong and good. But my mom came here, I guess, when my auntie got pregnant with Guy Charles. And she came here and helped my auntie with Guy Charles and fell in love with Houston and never went back. And my mom bought her a poll tax. She would love to tell us little stories that she bought her first poll tax. She had to pay $1.50 for it. And she was so happy because she could vote. And young as I can remember, we always been in politics. I remember when George Bush, and he was a Democrat, and he ran for office, and my mom worked in his campaign. He had a baseball team with Mr. Shepard. That Shepard is S-H-E-P-H-E-R-D. And he had a girls' baseball team at Lincoln City Park. And so George Bush sponsored those girls in the baseball team. But we just remember my mom being in politics. We just live politics. My mom has worked with John F. Kennedy, and we remember that as kids going out there to the Hobby Airport. She was pregnant at the time, and my mama made the newspaper. And so we, you know, it was always politics, politics, politics. These people would come in and out of our home, but at the end of the day, she was still a mother and a wife and a sister. But politics was her, as we say, that's your gift, that's your passion, and that's where she lied at. And then the opportunity came where she was able to meet Hubert Humphrey, L.B. Johnson, you know, that she did interact with those people. Bob Eckhart. Bob Eckhart at that time used to be our congressperson. It was years before. We never could vote for Barbara Jordan out here. They had to redraw the lines in order for us to vote for Barbara Jordan, so we had to vote for another man, and that was Bob Eckhart, and he was our Congress at that time. And eventually my mom was so happy. Squatty Lowndes came to her and offered her a job. And that was one of her exciting moments, that she was working for the county. Little old girl, she would say, from Plaindean, Louisiana, making $25,000 a year, driving a county car, and got free county gas. And eventually you would go into the administration building and her name was on the directory. You would see it in the hallway, or you get on the elevator, there her name was. And the idea to go in her office and you see her name, Diane Shepard, County Commissioner aide, you know, community aide. And my mom just loved her community. She was a great, passionate mom. One time, meat had got so expensive, and my mom was friends with Herman Lawhoff and all of them, and she decided to have a strike not buying meat. And everybody should remember when Walgreens was on 43rd, and there she is on the picket line, because meat was so high. So we couldn't eat meat till it went down. So we had to suffer some of the consequences as a part of that. But she loved working for the Commissioner Lowndes, and that was the passion of helping the community. I can go back before she started working for the commissioner. People would come to her house wanting to run for seats, and they would ask her and get her advice about a seat. Never forget when Judson Robinson, the first black city council, ran, she told Judson to come out here. They was gonna have a fundraiser. Judson comes out here to sue. And Judson finally realized the fundraiser was on the corner of West Montgomery and Little York, holding up buckets, collecting money. They would stop the buses and everybody. And at that time, Acres Home, 4 ways. We had one person on this corner, that corner, stop the, it was the rapid transit, get on there and get money for Judson, and the police came, asking what's going on. And my mom let him know that this is our community. And we're out here doing a fundraiser, and you need to go on down the street and take care of the rest of the neighborhood. And they left, and we continued to raise money for Judson. And because Judson, she believed in him, and that was her boy. And so she had a passion for that. So politics been in our lives, and kids get in jail or get in trouble, they'll sit there and call my mom, the parents, and my mom would sit in her living room and call their judge. Look, this boy in jail, I know his people, you let him out, and I make sure he'll be in court. And just because of who she was, they let him out. But being a daughter or a child abuser, you don't realize, okay, that's everyday life. Oh, my mama doing that, okay, no problem, that's everyday life. You don't know what the power that your mama have, because she's still mama at the end of the day. So then she was very passionate about politics, and she had favorite politicians such as Judson Robinson, Hawkins Menifee, and then here comes her beloved Sylvester Turner. Oh my God. That was her heart, gold, and silver. You thought he was a part of the family. You couldn't touch Sylvester because she believed in it, and she saw the hope in him and the future in him. And that's why I say right now, if she was living the night he won, I thought about her, how glad and how proud she would have been of Sylvester. But I got to go back again because it's just so much. Because then you had Mickey Leland that ran for office. You had Craig Washington that ran for office. You had Rodney Ellis. All of those people were people that was inside our home. Those people were inside our home. We had, never forget when Sheila Jackson Lee came to Houston. She called my mom. She was right there. My mom knew Sheila. She was right there with Sophronia Thompson. My mom would be all over Harris County, even down in Bordersville, where Bordersville is a very poor neighborhood for blacks. And Squatty covered Bordersville. And so she would be out there helping that community, because at the end of the day, she was a community activist. Kids were getting in trouble. She would help those parents. Parents needed food for their houses and everything. And then now, since she passed, as I go out through the community, Jeffrey Lindsay, Above and Beyond pastor, came and said, Diane, you know, your mama saw me one day and it was raining. And she said, boy, where you going? He said, Miss Shepard, I'm going to school. I work at U of H downtown. He said, she started picking me up, and every day she would pick me up and drop me off at school. I'm like, wow. He said, she helped me so much. So the legacy has been, it'd be a shame if I didn't keep up the legacy, what I've seen her do, because we watch her go to city council for this library and for the swimming pool, because we didn't have a swimming pool in the community. The library we had was right down the street from this library that we had, and she would go to city council and speak every Wednesday. And Larry McCaskill at that time was our city councilman. And she would tell him that we would need a library. We needed a library, and it got approved, but she wasn't satisfied. She said, okay, now it's been approved to give us a library. I want a black architect. The city had never had a black architect on their contract list. So my mama found Hayward, Jordan, and McGowan. And they designed this library that's named after her back in 1974 when this library opened. So it's very precious and it's very sentimental to me how to keep her legacy up with this library. It is just so much. I never forget when Hawthorne's was mayor, and they got ready to put the lights in the community. And they came and got her. We didn't have street lights. And she showed them where to put the street lights, because we didn't have street lights out here. We wanted that, and so eventually they picked her up and they did the street lights. I'll never forget when Gary Hart ran for president of the United States. and he wanted to come to the community. And Gary Hart came to Akersholm on his helicopter, and he landed his helicopter at Galilee Baptist Church. And at that time, it was named 6616 Sheridan Street. And he landed that helicopter over there and got out and met my mom and stuff. And Gary Hart came. He was running for president of the United States. I have pictures of that right now. When Reverend Bailey died in 1977, that street that used to be Sheridan Street was renamed after Reverend Bailey. Reverend Bailey was a super pastor. If you needed to know a scripture, you call Reverend Bailey, and he'll tell you just right off the top of his head. But they petitioned the city, and they had that street named after him. And then my mom petitioned the city again. Ralph Bullison, that was a deacon there at the church, she had that street named after him. So that street is named Bullison. And they're right there at Galilee Baptist Church. And my mom was a member at Galilee until she passed. My mom had been a member there, I think, definitely over 50 years. And they had that historical marker there, and she was there when they placed that historical marker there because she was a part of the influence of getting things done. If people wanted something done in the community, they came to her. No matter what the problem was, no matter how big, how small the problem was, she never turned no one away. She always had compassion for her community, love for her community. And one thing about it, if you wanted to run for office, you could not run against Sylvester nor Judge Robinson. Those two were no-nos. And everybody understood that. My mom knew every mayor in town. We have seen Hawthorne's at our home, McCann at our home. We've seen all of them. We've met everyone. But at the end of the day, the political world leaves, she's still our mom. She still provided for her kids. She nurtured us. She loved us. And she was mom, you know. And everybody got this big, wild family. But at the end of the day, everybody got all these personalities. But at the end of the day, she was one of the greatest moms. You know, she loved us to death. And so to keep this legacy alive, to see how she hit these streets, hit these pavements, and I'm sitting at her funeral and I'm saying, I cannot let what she built up out here pass without some type of remembrance. So I got with several city council persons, and finally I got with C.O. Bradford. And C.O. Bradford said, Diane, we're going to change the library. We're going to rename the library after your mom. And C.O. started it, and then everybody joined board, which was Jarvis Johnson at that time. And so, but then Jarvis had to, his term expired, so then Jerry Davis came on. So then we started having the, name the library after her. So then we started having fundraisers. And so we realized, okay, we're raising funds for this library. We designed that the money stay here at this library to help our community. And our library helps kids that need resources. So we realized, okay, we got this going on, we got this money, what are we gonna do with it? Because it's designed just for us. Well, let's get in our history when Black History Month comes. Let's start, and I got with the team that's on the Friends of Diane Shepard Legacy, which we created, and we start having fundraisers in the parking lot. So we realized, okay, we're gonna do with this money. And then second time we had our fundraiser, we raised over $10,000. So since then, we raised nearly $30,000 since we started. So what we do each year, we have an essay contest. Our kids have to write about legends, past and present, from Akersholm only, because we got so much great history. And our first year when we did the essay contest, we had over 50 kids that joined. And what we found out, parents were involved in the essay contest. Kids wrote about the first bus that we had, Acres Home Transit. Kids wrote about Loretta Devine. Kids wrote about F.M. Williams, wrote about my mom, Sylvester Turner. Some kids just wrote about their pastors and Pastor Davis and just wrote about the community of our great history. So what we did, we give our kids wonderful prizes where we give away televisions, laptops with printers, beats, tablets, Xboxes, gift cards. We make sure that we give back. One year we had a kid that came. He needed a goat for the FHA. And he came and he said, well, okay, I don't have all my money for my goat. Can you guys call? Well, we called downtown and we said, we got a kid that's in the FHA and he needs a goat. So we had the funds to give him to go get the goat. We've also donated funds to Carver Jazz Band. When those kids play music and they need donations to go places, hey, we make donations. We let them know at the front desk we have a petty cash. So if kids don't have enough money to print off paper, even our seniors, or fax something, we have petty cash to help them because somebody helped me. We need to give back to the community. And that's what those funds are raised for, our kids out here. If they need a coat or uniforms, we have the funds for them. One year, we had the unveiling of the portrait, and the city could not believe I could pull this one off. And so I told them, I'm going to get Blair Underwood. They like, yeah, right, yeah, right. I'm like, okay, we're going to have Blair Underwood to come here to do the unveiling. And everyone around, well, what is it going to cost y'all? I said, it's not going to cost us nothing. We just need a first-class plane ticket, a hotel, and accommodations. We sent the letter, and Blair said on the letter that he had great intentions to be here that day. And they're like, well, Miss Shepard, he said he got the intentions. If not, he's going to send something for a raffle. I say, he's going to be here. I say, it's in the atmosphere, he's going to be here. They did not realize that he really was going to be here till 2 weeks before he arrived. I said, I told y'all. But when we got Blair Underwood, we also got James Pickett from Grey's Anatomy. My secret weapon was my brother, Calvin Shepard, that lives up in California. Calvin went to college with Blair. He's good friends with James Pickett. Blair knew my mom. So Blair like, okay, Diane, whatever you want, I'll be there. And Blair, we had to fly him in that morning, fly him right out, but he didn't hesitate. He came in, he talked about my mom, he mixed and mingled with everyone, and we had a grand time. And it made them look and say, she really pulled this off. Wow. And I'm like, we was raised to be go-getters. And when we want to go get something, we know how to get it and go to our direct resources. So never underestimate the legend. Because we can make it happen and we try our best. Look at this building. People never knew Blair Underwood from Hollywood up here in this library, right here. And so James Pickett loves it, him and his wife. They like, Diane, I really enjoyed myself. So we pulled that one off, and the best is yet to come with our next fundraiser. They're not going to be ready for that. I'm working on that right now. But it keeps the legend alive. It keeps the legacy alive. It keeps my mom alive. And yet still this day, she's been deceased, be 8 years this year, that she's still not forgotten. Her legacy still lives in this community because her work spoke for itself. She wasn't a sellout. She couldn't buy her. She didn't sell the community out. You know, one time a man came to her, Beulah, I understand that you want this nice house built, wherever you want it, I'll build it for you. But you can't talk about your community anymore. My mama said, She wasn't selling out her community for a house. So you knew right then, I'm like, really? You knew the power that she had, but yet still as a kid, you like, okay, that's our mama. You're not just gonna buy her out. So she didn't sell her community out. She loved her community. She loved her pastor. She loved the kids. She loved her family. So when my mom passed, she had 7 kids living, 30 grandchildren. I think 28 grandchildren, 30 great grandchildren. Many has been added on since. And the greatest accomplishment, I think about it all the time, if my mom was still living, my mom has 2 great granddaughters that graduated from the University of Texas. One is a registered nurse and the other one is a PA. But then too, she'd have been proud of my boys too, because one graduated from Paul Quinn College, the other one graduated from U of H. My son is a former school teacher, and then my other son works for the University of Texas. He's a director of recruitment. And when you look at him, you just think about my mama. My mama would have been so amazed and so happy, and everybody in the United States would know about them because she could brag about her kids. And let me not forget about her cooking. Everybody loved her fried chicken and her collard greens. We would wake up sometime and go home or get there early in the morning. She frying chicken and collard greens to take to work. We go places and something be going in church and people like, oh, Sister Shepard cooks the best fried chicken. She makes the best collard greens. One little girl said, Miss Sister Shepard, I want you to cook me some fried chicken. And she loved cooking. And so those were her qualities at home. She loved her family. She loved her community. She loved her church. And if I forgot anything, don't charge that against me, because it's just so much. But right now, she has a collection at the Gregory School at the African American Library. You can go there and look at her collection and see pictures and copies and stories about her. And she has one of the largest collections there. My understanding is a lot of students from Rice University and Houston Community College come in and do research and stuff on her. So if anybody would love, and we don't never talk about it, that's a place that you can take your kids to see the history of Houston on African American legends. We have so many legends that's right there on Castor and Cleveland Street. And so my mom's there, Pastor Davis is there, Judson Robinson is there, John Chase, Barbara Jordan. We just full of history. And the best thing in life, we should remember where we came from and whose shoes are we walking in and who's gonna walk in our shoes behind us.